Pastor Alfredo from Sandals Church said something that I just kind of want to riff on for a little bit. But he said that people don't look to Christianity or don't become Christians because of our right answers, but because of our right attitudes. And it got me thinking of like, those like fantasy games or movies or whatever, where they have a group of religious people, but they're like nomads, they dress different, they eat different, and they just like they're different, and people like could just tell, like, oh yeah, this person, worship they're the sun worshipers or whatever. It's usually the sun or the earth or whatever, and they wear like an emblem or their robes or whatever. Sometimes it's in their prayer or whatever. It's just weird because like in every game there's always that bandito guy who like makes it known that they're of this other culture. I think, okay, I guess in a movie aspect, I think they're just trying to build the lore and build the world around them with dialogue as much as they can, right? But still, these people are set apart and they do this thing, they worship this god, they are different, and it would be wonderful that, I mean, that I think that is the goal, right? Like it's weird that the cross was an emblem that we all wore. Well, that's the thing, we all wore, and no one really, half of us believed in it truly or whatever. And now it's like this insignificant thing. Yeah, I don't see well, actually that's not true. You go down, to the Bible Belt and you see more crosses than you do like gas stations. It's kind of crazy. I drove through Mississippi, I think, or something, and oh my gosh, it was crazy. Now, and I don't think it was, racially motivated for those who understand. I think it was just crosses because then it was like, God's coming and da da da. It's crazy how many crosses are there. But the rest of the world, right? Um, there aren't any that, I don't see that anymore. I'm out here in Texas and I just don't. Well, I guess it's Austin, right? And it's probably, anyways, okay. But my point is, that is the goal, right? It is for us to be the city on the hill. It is for us to represent something that doesn't exist in ordinary life. Like people, if people never met Jesus, they would never see what if they encountered a Christian, then they would receive something fresh and new that they've never experienced before. And now I say all of this, no cults, right? That's weird. It's just like that's kind of the general, like, this is what Christianity is. Um, you know, and I don't know, whatever that looks like to you, but be unique in that you are a child of God. You are a new creation. Be unique in the sense that you can absolutely express that because you know that you have a father that loves you unconditionally, without condition. That's what that means. Without condition, they love you, right? And people talk about how loyalty of other people and love of other people need to be unconditional. Da da da. Da. That's not right. That's wrong. Like if my boss was like, I don't know, freaking stealing money from the company or whatever, I'm not gonna back them up. I'm not gonna hide that. I'm not gonna, cause it's wrong. Like my loyalties, my loyal ties are to the point of my ethics. And I've decided that and I make that known, right? Like my love has conditions. Like, sorry, wife, but I can only take so much before I have to retreat myself, before I get angry, before, whatever the case is. I don't know if that was in our intentions. Agape doesn't mean unconditional, it means selfless. It's selfless love. Now, selfless love I can do. Doing things for people without anything in return, I can do, right? Because of the power of God, because of the love that He stirs up in me, I can do that for someone else. I can't love someone unconditionally. I need boundaries. I need boundaries. Consider these things. Think about it. I hope that was thought provoking. Uh, this one was a short one. uh, Love you guys. God bless. I pray that you can really think about that. How to express that faith and be followers of the way, which is what it was called in Acts. And some pretentious Christians say they aren't Christians and they say that they're the followers of the way, which again is pretentious because you're not loving the church. You're not loving Christ's bride, and you're not helping it grow in mature in faith. If you think you're so mature, go be a Christian, go teach Christians, and go be discipled by a Christian that you feel like knows more than you. Or and sometimes it's not in knowledge, but in attitude. It's my first mentor was half genius. Oh no, all genius. Sorry, I don't know what that even means. He's a freaking genius. Humberto Lopez, pastor of the Springs. This guy mentored me in every area of my life, all kinds of ways. He was my pastor, but it evolved from what he knew to how he was living. He knew so much about the Bible, but if that doesn't turn into life, then it doesn't matter, which is kind of full circle. So find a mentor that is living it. If you're married, find a married person who maybe, I'm not saying has it all figured out, but you can look at their relationship with their spouse and you can see the love of God. You can see the respect. You can see the peace that they have. The when they argue with grace and love. Or if it gets ugly, they come back with forgiveness and there's no bitterness. Or whatever the case is, if you're a teenager, try to find a young adult. If whatever the case is, find someone that can help you level up. And that's what discipleship is. And sometimes discipleships with a certain person doesn't last long. Sometimes it is, for maybe 6 months, and then they just become good friends and you're there and, you hang out, you still talk about the same things, but it's not this like, I need to learn from you thing. It's like, I want to just live life with you. Because essentially that is what discipleship is. It's just living life with people, but you want to be intentional about who you're living life with, right? And that could easily turn into a transactional relationship, which has for me. Because to this day, I don't know what I provided for Alberto, but I'm paying it forward, right? As a youth pastor, as I tried to just communicate the gospel and live the gospel example to others. But I don't think that's something that you can pay back. I think it's always going to be something you pay forward, because as that knowledge accrues and you start living that life that you're meant to live, then you have to help someone else get there, and that's really all discipleship is. Mike Todd talks about this a lot. Like, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be one step ahead and just teach the one thing that you learned that they don't know yet. And because you're growing in God and you're growing in the gospel, you can always teach. You can always teach. If you're stagnant, well, then people are going to pass you for sure. But if everyone kind of grows at the same pace, if you're a day older as a Christian, if you're a day farther into wrestling with the faith in the world and doing all these things, then you're qualified to disciple. So let's look out for each other and let's be that community that's set apart. In other words, that community that is holy, because that's what set apart means. Okay, now, bye.